Eric Hippeau. He's a partner at venture capital firm Lerer Hippeau. You just invested in a cybersecurity firm. I saw you in the green room. You were hanging on every word during the meeting part of what we can roll some of that video of when Donald Trump came out and said, look, we've got to make sure that every American agency that's in charge of this stuff is on it and that he will hold them personally responsible.
Well, it's a huge problem. Almost every agency in the government now has been hacked, and the government of the United States is woefully unprepared for cyber attacks. We have antiquated computer systems. We have norms that need to be updated. We've got hundreds of thousands of employees who basically don't have the basic safeguards. So it's a huge problem, and maybe an executive order is not going to solve the problem. I mean, we need to have concrete measures, and the draft that we saw of the executive order just called for a review within 60 days.
Why do you think it was abruptly canceled?
No idea.
No idea.
No idea. Something happened, obviously.
Okay, so let's talk about what you just said, and that is that almost every government organization has been hacked or attempted to be hacked. We thought we'd show our viewers some of these. The huge one was the Office of Personnel, OPM. 21 million records, including something like 5 million sets of people's fingerprints, were hacked. And we can put up some of these on the screen, and you can kind of see it. It jumps out at you there. That was in 2015. So all those records were stolen. It was rather stunning. There were a whole bunch of others. You had the IRS. These breaches are just unbelievable. The IRS let's see how many of there was hacked in 2016. You had 700,000 social security numbers. You get somebody's social, you're off and running. And then this one jumped out at us. A NASA drone was hacked, and something like 2,400 pieces of data on all different employees, flight logs, a 300-page magazine was released detailing all kinds of security failings at NASA. Come on. What do we need to do? What does the president really have to push from his team?
We need to do a bottom-up review of every critical system in the United States that are handled by the government and really come up with norms that they have to abide by. And we have to have cooperation of the private sector. A lot of the research, a lot of the new measures, a lot of the technology that is coming here to protect us comes from the private sector and comes from the tech industry. But now, because of what happened yesterday with immigration or the day before with immigration, the tech sector is not, as far as I can tell, really willing to cooperate because they feel that they're being attacked on the immigration issue.
Okay, to the private sector issue, and I just want to let our people know here, we're seeing a little bit of movement out here. Looks like somebody's just bringing in they buy LGs. That's a Korean-made television, although I know they have an operation in Englewood, New Jersey. But we're waiting as soon as anybody comes out to those cameras. Please inform me, though, because you've been in the private sector. You were also an early investor, sat on the board of Yahoo, which had the worst breach ever. 1.5 billion people's data or their emails were compromised. What do companies on the outside know that the government doesn't?
You constantly have to be aware that you can, at any moment, be under attack. You cannot fall asleep at the switch. You have to have, investments, people, the best technology. Look, as far as we know, after all these attacks on the government, which heads have rolled? Which measures have been taken by the previous administration? We don't know of any of this. Maybe nothing.
Well, I can't let you go before I ask you about Silicon Valley, pushing back very hard. Everyone from Airbnb to Amazon to, listen, Microsoft isn't even in the Valley, but they're up in Seattle, very unhappy with the immigration order of what Donald Trump signed on late Friday night. Listen, you've worked all over the world. You're Swiss, French?
I'm French.
French.
I'm an American citizen.
You're an American citizen.
But I'm an immigrant.
But you're an immigrant. What say you about this? Because you, like anybody else, have seen what happened in your home country of France, where you had some immigrants pull off horrific murders.
No question that we have to have control and information about the people who come to our country when they apply for a visa or a green card, or in my case, become naturalized. Of course, we need to know who they are. But for us to close our borders, even for a short period of time, sends the wrong signal. The technology industry in the United States depends on immigrants. The CEO of Microsoft is an immigrant. The co-founder of Google is an immigrant. I am an immigrant. I have colleagues who are immigrants. About half of the companies that I fund have at least one founder who's an immigrant. These are the people who want to come to the United States and build companies and create jobs and create wealth for ourselves. This is the American dream. If we close our borders, if people think that we are not open-armed anymore, these people will go somewhere else, and somebody else will get the advantage of the quality of these people.
But you don't disagree that we need to make sure that we are careful about the countries that don't vet properly. We may, but some of these countries on this list don't vet properly.
As far as I can tell, all we have to do is apply the laws that are in place today that allow the executive branch of the government to vet and delay and be sure, and all we have to do is that. We don't need an executive, a presidential order that sends exactly the wrong signal to the world.
Well, here's a signal. The NASDAQ just turned positive while you were talking, so you'll take it. Eric Hippeau, thank you very much.